Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and the other day shopping, I found lemon fabric. Now, I love the freshness of lemons and lemon fabric, so I'm going to make a table topper with it. And it's not going to be a square. I will show you if you'd like to make it in a square, but I'm going to change that shape. And it's going to be a lot of fun to do, and I am going to do what I call my teacup quilting. Good news about this table topper is it only takes 3 fabrics, your focal fabric and 2 other fabrics, and only half a yard of each. So you can start with a nice focal point fabric and then just have 2 fabrics to go along with them. Let's put that main focal fabric away for now, and we're going to make strip sets and the blocks with our 2 secondary fabrics. And our strip sets are all going to be the same, and we're going to be able to cut our strips at 4.5 inches. We're going to need 3 of the one color and 3 of the second color. So we have a total of 6 strips cut at 4.5 inches. And we're going to sew 2 together, and put this one aside. So just match and sew. After I sew my strips together, I do like to press them. And I'm going to use a straight line on my iron. And I'm going to make sure that these are straight and press them. I want to press them before I cut them, but I'm not pressing them open. I'm going to do that after, but I do want to make sure that they stay straight. I'm going to cut some sections. I need 4 pieces cut at 8.5 inches, and those I would recommend you cut first. We're going to cut the remainder into 4.5 inch pieces. From those 2 strip sets, I was able to get 4 that are cut at 8.5 inches and 10 that are cut at 4.5 inches. So this is going to give us a good start. We are going to need more 4.5 inch cuts, but we're going to cut those separate from these pieces. And we're going to do that as we go along. So we're going to start and make the block. We're going to take the long 8.5 inch piece and sew it in between the 4.5 inch pieces. So we're going to have 4 units that look like this. These now equal 16.5 inches by 8.5 inches. We still have 2 pieces left over, but the next thing we need to do is cut the center piece. I will need a big 16.5 inch square of this focal fabric. We're going to be able to lay this out and make a decision on how we are going to cut the remainder of the pieces. These pieces are going to go around, and I really do like to lay them out first. And I can see if I'm going to want the one color facing inside or the other color facing in. This gives us a chance that we can rearrange it to find something that we like best. There's no right or wrong. It really is what you are going to like. For myself, I'm going to choose the green to go inside. So let me show you how these corners are going to go. Depending on what colors you have here, will depend on what is going to go here. I do want to have the opposites. So in my case, I will want green beside that yellow. And here we'll also need to have another decision. If you are making this into a square quilt, you can fill it up with this, or you can add, in my case, the yellow and a focal fabric corner. So this corner, we are going to have some options. As for myself, I am not going to make it a square. I'm going to make it more of an octangle. So I'm going to have a square side here, but I do want to cut this corner off. So this is going to be where you need to make your decisions. I will be able to cut the 4.5 inch squares that I'm going to need. Now to sew this together, we are going to be able to put those 2 sides right onto that block. Just stitch a 1/4 inch. From there, we're going to work on the top and the bottom. Is sew those 2 pieces onto each end, and both sides will be the same. If you are going to do the square one, you will just add your 2 blocks on, just like you have been doing throughout. But in my case, I will not need this cornerstone as I am going to be cutting this on an angle. But I do need to fill in this spot. Now we can add our 4.5-inch squares. So we would stitch down here, and we're going to have a 1/4 inch hanging out onto this seam. And that's really all we need, because we will be trying right here at that 1/4 inch seam allowance. But just to make things easier, if you haven't cut your 4.5-inch squares yet, cut those strips that are 4.5 inches to 5 inches. So now when you put that on, you have more of a seam allowance up here at the top. So here's that 4.5-inch square, and we have that 1/4 inch right there. Or we do the 5. So this is 4.5, this is the 5. When we stitch those together, we have more hanging onto this top piece. And this is the area that we're going to be trimming on a diagonal. So this just gives us a little bit of a space just in case we need it. So we're going to sew those on, and there's going to be nothing in those corners. Now that those corners are on, these will fit together. So I can sew on the top and the bottom. From here, we are going to quilt it. I'm going to baste this together just like I do any quilt, and right now it is 33.5 inches. And of course, you really can quilt it any way you would like. I'm going to do an orange peel quilting. So I do want to have the quilt having all of these 4-inch marks. So I can just draw some lines so that the center is marked and these side pieces. So I'm going to be able to start from the bottom. I'm going up, around, so I'm making like this S all the way up. Then I'm going to go reversed on the other. So if I've gone in this direction, I'm going to go in this direction and come all the way up. So I will have these little orange peels. I'm going to do it in one direction, and I'm going to do it in the second direction. And having this marked up means I'm going to continue the same shape as I go along. Now you could draw all those lines with the teacup and then just go with your walking foot, and let me show you how fun this is to do. So this is a form of what I would call teacup quilting. I'm going to need something for a curve. It's going to go from this point to this point, and this is 4 inches. So a teacup might work, and if it's a little bit too small, you can go for a saucer. The curve is not important. We just want to be able to hit this point and this point. And you can see where I'm going to hit this point and this point. And I can do it with both of them from here to here. So I'm going to use one of these water-soluble markers or one that fades, and I'm going to draw my shape. It's going to go from point to point, and then from point to point on the other side. So we have that shape, and I'm going to do that to all of the pieces. Now if you'd like, you could do all the one row first and then come back and mark it second. Now you can also free motion it if you'd like, but if you'd like it a little bit more exact looking, teacup quilting really does work. So I have all of those shapes done. I'm going to have those curves start a 1/4 inch from the edge, but I'm going to start outside and I'm going to stitch up till I hit that point, and then just do this all the way around. Turn around and come back. Let's take a look at how fun this is at the machine. So I'm starting off, and I do have my walking foot on. When I hit that 1/4 inch, I'm going to start my curves. And that's all there is to quilting those curves. Just keep following that S and then come on back. So it was a very simple stitch. I just tried to keep in those intersections, and now I'm going to draw those little shapes and go in the other direction. So when we're done that quilting, we have those beautiful shapes going in each direction, which gives us a little bit of a flower shape, but it also gives us circles. And you can really see that on the other side. There are our flowers, and there are our circles. And it was just a matter of going all the way up and down. Now we need to deal with trimming off these corners. I do want that 1/4 inch here, the 1/4 inch here, and the 1/4 inch there. I can trim this off. Once those corners are cut off, I do have that octagon shape. I will be able to just bind it like I would normally any quilt, and then I will be able to enjoy it. Now that my blue disappearing marker is starting to disappear, you can really see my teacup or my little saucer quilting. And it's a lot of fun. We have those beautiful curves. It was not hard to do. Just put the walking foot on and follow your lines. And I love having this irregular shape. I think it's going to be a lot of fun on my summer table with some lemons and some lemonade. And thank you for joining me today on So Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under So Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a so-tacular day. Bye for now.